Hi guys, I'm back again with some more stories for you today. Let's go to the first one, about OP's boyfriend, who is going on vacation with his ex and their child. But on top of that, he says that he is planning to sleep with his ex in the same room. Listen to the story to hear what OP thinks about that, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My boyfriend has decided to take a trip with his ex and their 2.5-year-old daughter for a week to Spain, and I'm having trouble dealing with it. This was an idea suggested by his ex, and now it has become a situation where they are going to be visiting his family there and staying there with them sharing a room. How do I voice my concerns without pushing him in either direction, or giving off the impression that I'm trying to come in between him seeing his daughter? It is the ex, mother of his child, that I'm worried about, and the lack of boundaries in their dynamic. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 1.5 years now. We've grown quite a bit in our relationship, challenge each other, provide safety, and love each other a lot. We have even decided to find a place together early next year to blend our families. I have a 7-year-old son, and call it our home. But after recent developments, I've decided to put those plans on hold, as I never met his daughter, and it would be a very unwise decision since our children are involved. My boyfriend and I had our issues with him dealing or relating to his ex due to his lack of boundaries that he has with her. According to him, she can be very volatile and has used their daughter against him whenever he doesn't play to her tune whenever she likes. She's canceled visitations last minute, even after he has planned and paid for everything. He complains about only wanting to visit his daughter without the mother, but he never takes action to make that happen. He doesn't have custody of the daughter, as she lives full-time with her mother, so he sees her every other weekend. With every visitation, he's either traveling to visit the daughter and stay at his ex's home with her parents, still living at home with her parents at 38, or she comes with the child to stay at his. In April of next year, their verbal agreement is that the daughter is to stay with my boyfriend every other weekend. But I don't see them allowing her to bond with him alone to make that transition as smoothly as possible. The mother is always present. I've never met or talked to her, nor have there been any arrangements for me to meet her in order to meet the child, especially since we want to blend our families. I wouldn't think so much of the trip or the ex sleeping at his place when she comes with the daughter, but as I mentioned, we had some problems in the past when we first started seeing each other. He was hiding my belongings at his place, which I initially went along with, as we were fairly early in our relationship, dating, and didn't know if it would have progressed. But as we became a committed relationship, 6 months in, he still kept our relationship a secret with his ex. He was worried about how she would react. It came out eventually that she was sleeping in his bed with the daughter when she stayed, even though he had made an extra room for his ex and daughter to sleep in. So while I try to trust him, there's still a part nagging at me in regards to his ex and the lack of boundaries. I'm a mother, so unless a parent is physically, spiritually, emotionally detrimental to the child, I truly believe both parents should be heavily involved. In addition, roughly a month ago, the ex said that she didn't feel comfortable, now that she is in a new relationship, visiting and sleeping at his place, and my boyfriend doing the same when he stays with her and her family. Now those arrangements have changed back. She's sleeping at his place, and he travels to see the daughter and sleep there. He at one point said, since it's so troublesome with the futon being in his office, that he is moving it into his bedroom so that the ex can sleep on it while he sleeps in the bed with their toddler. I really don't understand this. There's the living room where she can sleep. I've told him how this bothers me, and he gaslit me by saying that I was jealous of the mother. Then he said he understood and respected my wishes. Now he wants me to bend my boundary by allowing them to sleep in a room together because his aunt only has one spare room in her villa. When I enforced it again, he said fine, thanks for trusting me at least, and said that he would arrange something in Spain. What is going on here? Am I being too much? Sounds like she's not his ex. OP is his side piece because that's how he's treating OP. I'd suggest for OP to focus on herself and her own child. Sounds like this relationship is going nowhere. OP is settling for so little. Her partner doesn't sound like he respects OP at all. OP needs to get some self-respect back and leave him without even telling him. Just delete his number and block. Let's see if the community agrees with me. Busta Crimes 91 says, "You are bending over backwards to accommodate him to your own detriment. I've never heard of a couple who have split up but still share a room, house, bed, and all parenting time. What the duck is that all about? They are definitely still together. Maybe he is hiding it from his family because they disapprove or something. I get the impression he's stringing her along and promising that they will be a family again. Otherwise, why on earth is she going along with it? Why haven't they been to court about this? It's all so strange. If it walks like a duck, acts like a duck, and shares a bed, then the ducks are ducking 100%. Coobs2 says, I can't believe what I just read. You are putting up with way too much, and sounds like you're making excuses for him. I could never be okay with my man sharing a room with his ex, and I'd never met anyone who would be okay with it. But to each their own, I guess. Sandy02 says, how cute. They want to play house. They are a family. What are you doing in this relationship? You sound like a side piece and nothing more. Let them travel together and live this life. Remove yourself from this situationship you've allowed to continue. It's not normal. No. I, 34 female, have been in a relationship with a man, 49, for a couple of years now. When we met, we were both married to other people. I was very unhappily married for 10 years with a 9-year-old son. He was married for 25 years and told me they grew apart, were not having and they were never able to have kids. For the first year or so, we were having an affair behind our spouses' backs. Then he told me he would leave his wife and we would move in together if I wanted to. He told me he wanted us to have a kid, or kids too. So we both left our spouses and have been living together for about 16 months now. In those 16 months, I've divorced my husband. My son is living with me and the new boyfriend, and occasionally spends time with his father. My boyfriend has not divorced his wife. In fact, about 2 months ago, he'd come clean and told me that he and his ex had pursued IVF, and she is now pregnant with his child. The baby, girl, is due in May. At first, I freaked out and was going to leave him. But then he had convinced me that him having a kid with his ex doesn't have to mean that our relationship is over. He says that the same way as he is trying to be a stepfather to my son, I could be a stepmother to his soon-to-be-born daughter. My therapist advised me not to make any rash decisions, that if he treats me right, we can make it work. All my friends are telling me to leave him, but I don't want to. I love him, and he loves me, I think. He's very nice to me. He pays the rent and all the bills on the place where we live. I'm pursuing nursing school, and he's helping me with that. We were talking about actively trying to get pregnant at the end of my nursing school, which should be in about 2 years. We have a lot of fun together. We go on vacations. He's nice to my son. I'm very conflicted. I love him and want us to be together, but I don't know how this new baby will change everything for all of us. I've never met his ex. She rarely calls or texts him, but I'm also suspicious that he does communicate with her in a way that I'm just not aware of. Tell me what you would do in my place. Tell me if any of you have ever been in a similar situation. I want honesty. You guys know what shocked me the most? No, not that OP is naive as hell, but the therapist. What the duck is with her? I can see that there are really crappy therapists out there. When it comes to OP, she knows for a fact her boyfriend was cheating on his ex with her, but now she is discovering that he's been lying to OP too. The facts are that at any point, boyfriend could have denied his wife the use of his sperm. He never did. It also sounds like OP was never aware they were going through IVF treatments, if that's not another lie. And it sounds like this happened after their affair and relationship started. Regardless, OP's boyfriend is married to another woman and is having a child with her. His wife is pregnant with his child. OP needs to wake up and take her pink glasses off. And now let's hear if the community agrees with my opinion. Red Harley Quinn says, she got pregnant via IVF, and you believe him? Why would they pursue IVF, a famously very expensive process, during a divorce? I'm wondering what his wife's side of this is, other than 25 years of being married to a cheating crap weasel. Cubs fan transplant says, A. Get a new therapist. B. Get a new boyfriend. Yours is taken. What is it to you says, please tell me this is a joke. You better run. Still married and having a kid? Basically, you look like the other woman in this relationship. I've never had a great relationship with my parents. They never quite liked me as much as my older brother and sister. From little things, such as not getting the dinner I wanted on my birthday, while my siblings got extravagant parties, or my mother saying I wasn't as pretty as my sister, to bigger things, such as excluding me from a family vacation due to my being sick. I wasn't sick. I had a slight headache, and my mother insisted it was best I stay home alone from our week-long trip. I was 18 when that happened, and used to the treatment, and so simply went along with it while my parents and siblings left for the trip. Once I turned 19, I moved away for college. It's worth mentioning my parents paid for my siblings' schooling, both private school and college, while I went to public school, and they informed me they would not pay for my college right before I graduated. I ended up dropping out a year in, as I had not saved up enough money for college and was scared of going into debt. My parents informed me I was a disgrace, and they were disappointed in me, which I decided was the last straw and decreased my communications with them. I still spoke to them on occasions, but never went back for holidays or get-togethers, and have not seen them since I left school. Well, I got engaged last year, married a few days ago. I originally didn't plan to invite my parents, but after speaking to my siblings, was convinced to not cause extra problems. Well, at my wedding, my parents were talking to my cousins when I walked up on the group. I overheard my parents informing them I dropped out due to not being able to handle college, and that it was just too hard for me. When I denied this, informing them I could not afford it, my parents got real flushed and said that of course they offered to pay and that I shouldn't say such things. I don't know why, but this particular thing broke me. I realized just how much my parents didn't care for me, and I asked them to leave. I didn't make a scene of it, just quietly told them to go. They refused at first, but I asked security to quietly walk them out, so they left. Despite the quickness of the whole thing, many others found out, and about half of my family ended up leaving, my sister included. I've gotten tons of hate from the family who left over the last couple days, most of whom telling me I shouldn't have disgraced my parents by having them escorted out. I get I may have overreacted. I knew what I was getting into when I invited them, so I should have expected something like this and ignored it. But also, it was my wedding, and I feel like I shouldn't have had to deal with it. My husband agrees with me and didn't want my parents there to begin with, but still, I'm not sure. So, am I the a-hole? OP is definitely not in the wrong here. How dare they badmouthed OP on her wedding day? OP asked them to leave, and they had the opportunity to do so on their own and not be embarrassed, which is a kindness they didn't deserve after embarrassing OP to family members and lying about OP on her wedding day. I don't think OP overreacted, and their words demonstrate that they are aware they mistreated OP and don't like other people knowing it. Let's hear the community's opinion on the matter. Snowflake says, "Not the a-hole. These are the type of parents that no contact is for. Next time, don't let your siblings talk you into something that you don't want to do. You knew this would happen. Please remember this if you decide to have children, as it will be another pressure point." Harrisigi says, "Not the a-hole. It's really gross they lied and said you dropped out of college because you found it too hard, instead of admitting they didn't support you financially like they did their other kids. They shouldn't have ever brought up you dropping out of college on your wedding day in the first place." Mr. Wish says, "Not the a-hole. They are unsupportive and just terrible parents off what you've said. You don't owe these people anything at all. They know what they've done and don't deserve to be at one of your happiest moments if this is the behavior they've shown. If anything, maybe have a sit down with your siblings and explain to them why you did what you did. From their perspective, you just look like an a-hole that kicked out your own parents on a big event." We weren't in a serious relationship when she got pregnant. She's never met our son. Even after the birth, she had no desire to see him. We went to court so custody and support could be figured out, and I have 100% full legal and physical custody. Her name is on the birth certificate, but she has no custody and no right to visitation or to make things like medicinal or educational decisions. She didn't want any of that. Every month she pays 125% of the court-ordered child support. She says that if I ever marry someone who wants to adopt him, she will agree. But until then, she'll pay support. It's been this way since our son was born. I'm raising our son all on my own. He is 18 months old now, and he has never met her, and I don't even have any photos of her even. I'm burned out, and I hate being a single parent. I love my son, but I resent him. My family tries to help when they can, but I do it most of the time. I would never hurt or neglect him, but I'm exhausted all the time. I tried to go to court to give her split custody, but because she wanted an A, and I didn't, and she made it clear she would never be involved after the birth, and because we went to court when he was 6 months old, but because we already went after he was born and agreed on things, and now she pays more support than is court-ordered, the judge said he can't force her to look after him. I haven't seen her in almost a year, and the last I heard, she has a tummy tuck and laser stretch marks treatment and is working at a gym. She also told her friends and family she is an egg donor and not a mother. She is a deadbeat mom, and the court won't do anything and is forcing me to struggle as a single parent. Do I have any legal remedies here? Rando MIP says, "She is a deadbeat mom and the court won't do anything." No, She has complied with the court-ordered monetary support requirements, exceeded them in fact. That is all she is required to do, ever. The only problem here is that you want to shirk your responsibility as a single parent and dump the work on someone else because of one or all of these things. You're too cheap to hire a nanny and want the court to order her to be your free childcare instead. You are aggressive and want power over her because she escaped you, and you have an aggressive mentality and can't stand that your plan to control her failed. You're too selfish to accept that you are not parent material and simply arrange an adoption to a qualified parent or parents who can do the job they sign up for, unlike you. She wanted an A, and you didn't, and she made it clear she would never be involved after the birth. If you did not want to be an exhausted, cranky single parent, then you should have simply said, "Yeah, A, awesome, best idea ever," and then promptly driven her to the clinic, put your money on the counter, and supported her for the few days after that. Then none of the three of you would be living this nightmare that you created.